Good morning, everyone. It is the 16th. It is Thursday, and we are almost to Friday, which, is about sometimes what you have to do for a week. I realize that there are a bunch of people because there are, big things going on in the Karen Reed case are going to be on the replay crew, and that is totally okay. Thank you, Wolfram, for doing the mod stuff. Jeff Montgomery, I might take that into advisement. Really, the 9 a.m. time slot is simply because I have to be able to get my kids to school. So since today is their last day, I am seriously considering that. Good morning, Squid Pro Quo and Slinky and Alice G. Welcome. Hey, Joe. Yes, it is almost Friday, day eve and on Whiteboard Gate. So I contacted the eBay seller and they're like, well, what's the matter with your order? And I said, well, I ordered a giant double-sided standing whiteboard and I got a big safe. And there in the wash, it was going to be almost the entirety of what I spent just to send it back. So I am keeping the safe. I get some of my money discounted, and my new whiteboard from Amazon is coming tomorrow. So that is where that ended up. And welcome, Tammy and Jessalyn and Greedy Bloke. Our first news story is these dinguses. New York, I'm going to have, I'm stop, I stop feeling sorry for you, New York. It looks like the migrants who were charged in the attack on the police officers in Times Square were ordered plea deals. And thank you so much for just becoming a member, Jessalyn. I do not have to return it. I'm getting a portion of what I spent back and I'm just keeping it. So I told Mr. Mo, you need to start buying me jewelry or beanie babies because we have to have something to put in there other than little Debbie's. Oh, I'm so sorry. Bad pain days are the worst. Hopefully, between the trial and me, we can give you some things to not pay attention to. And welcome, Fraud at Wrangler. So, our first story, I'm going to stop feeling really tired. I'm tired of New York doing the same thing and then surprised Pikachu face when it ends up in the same idea. I will be going over to Broken Baker's channel. He is in the great USA. So Marissa and Jamie and I will try to hold down the fort. Welcome, Lady Sam Craft and Models. But I'm getting a little tired of New York doing the same daggone thing. And then again, surprise Pikachu face when more crime happens. 6 of the migrants who were charged in connection to the vicious attack on 2 NYPD officers in Times Square were offered plea deals Tuesday as a Manhattan judge revealed that one of the accused had already been arrested again and was currently out on cashless bail. Yohenry Brito, 24, who was remanded after his initial arrest, was picked up last week for petty larceny after an activist Brooklyn priest posted his $15,000 cash bail. Oh, good Lord. Father, you're going to need to pray for yourself. Physician, heal thyself. And, quote, I am furious that Mr. Brito was rearrested and charged with petty larceny while he was out on this case. Ward fumed as she warned that another slip-up would land him behind bars. Are we going with like the 75,000 out T-ball sort of thing? Because my thinking is you're out on bail and you commit another crime. I thought you went all the way to prison. Oh my God. Could you see frauditors in New York? I have no idea. Just what in the actual things? Quote, I am very tempted right now to put you in jail. No, he needs to go to jail now. I'm telling you right now, if I learn you're rearrested for anything at all between now and this case finishing, I'll order a warrant and place bail so high that you will not get out, she continued. If you jaywalk, if you jump a turnstile, if you do anything at all, and I have to issue a warrant, you will not see the light of day until this case is over, Ward declared. Well, I mean, put your foot down. You're giving him, if I get to 4.5, you're going to be in timeout. Welcome, Penny Ward. This is just ridiculous. She asked Brito if he understood, to which he replied yes after the comments were translated for him by an interpreter. Brito allegedly tried to steal children's clothing and fragrances from Macy's Herald Square flagship store on Friday night, according to the criminal complaint. He was charged with petty larceny and criminal possession of stolen property, both misdemeanors. A Manhattan judge set him free this Saturday, despite the DA's office requesting $10,000 as a cash bail. News of Brio's rearrest came as he, Ulysses Barrias, 21, Andres Gomez Equil, 19, were offered plea deals by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Under the proposed deal, the trios would spend a year in jail in exchange for pleading guilty to second-degree assault. Look, this gentleman right here needs major pain. I mean, I'm telling you what, we need Major Payne to come in there. Great movie, but to explain things and how things are going to work instead of, if you do it just one more again. Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. Go take care of that. Have a good day. And I hope that, they get that out for you and there's no issues. But make sure that you get a Frosty or something on the way back. Just, that's what I do with my kids. And I shouldn't have a routine for the ER, but boy, children. The two other migrants charged in the cop attack, Kelvin Cerveta Arocho, 19, and Wilson Juarez, 21, have been offered a separate plea deal to serve 6 months in prison for pleading guilty to obstructing a government administration. Prosecutors also offered Yorman Riveron, 24, a bargain that would send him to prison for 2 years for pleading guilty to a second-degree assault, according to the DA's office. The defendant's attorneys have not yet accepted the plea deals. Ward ordered that they return on June 18th, and then a trial date will be set if no arrangements are reached. An offer has not yet been made to 20-year-old Yagaris Vegas. The 7 migrants were indicted following a shocking caught-on-camera beatdown of the 2 officers when they tried to break up a rowdy crowd at the crossroads of the world on January 27th. Video showed the mob kicking cops in the head and body before running away. Juarez and Cerveta Arocha are alleged members of the notorious Venezuelan street gang Tren de Arca, and they are subjects of ICE detainers. So, yeah, I mean, New York, I'm having a hard time feeling sorry for you when you keep letting people get sweetheart deals for, crimes. In a more positive story, and this is actually an update to a story that we did a while back, and I'm so happy to hear that this worked for him, but the Australian doctor who was giving himself his own treatment seems to be cancer-free 1 year after using his revolutionary treatment on a terminal brain tumor, and he couldn't be happier. Well, I would be happy too. I mean, this is awesome news. An Australian doctor who was diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor last year is cancer-free thanks in part to a first-of-its-kind treatment that he helped develop. Richard Soiler, a professor at the University of Sydney, revealed Monday that the incurable stage 4 glioblastoma discovered in his head had not recurred after receiving the heartbreaking diagnosis last June. Quote, I had a brain MRI scan last Thursday looking for recurrent glioblastoma or treatment complications, and I found out yesterday that there is still no sign of recurrence, and I couldn't be happier, the professor shared on X. In May 2023, the fit educator was traveling through Europe speaking at medical conferences when he suffered a seizure while in Poland. Squaler flew back to Australia where he underwent an MRI that revealed he had a glioblastoma, an aggressive and terminal form of brain cancer, with his subtype being classified as so aggressive most patients don't survive longer than a year, according to the BBC. The pathologist, who is a director at the Melanoma Institute of Australia, teamed up with his co director, Georgina Long, to develop a treatment plan to help fight this deadly disease. The duo's decade long immunotherapy research at the Melanoma Institute dramatically increased the outcome for advanced melanoma patients, which led to the pair jointly being named the 2024 NSW Australian of the Year. The system or taking the information discovered during the research of immunotherapy or using the body's immune system to attack cancer cells, Long and her team came up with the best results to fight Squaler's fight. The use of a combination of drugs before surgery and it was the oh it was the world's first of this sort of letting your immune system attack the tumor in a brain tumor. Along with the combo immunotherapy, Squaler was the first to be given a vaccine tailored specifically to his tumor's characteristics, which would help boost the cancer detecting power of the drug. He also received 6 weeks of radiation therapy after surgery. His treatment did not begin smoothly. He suffered from epileptic seizures, liver issue, and pneumonia over the first few months, but has since gotten better and has returned to his daily workout routine, which includes a jog at a brisk 9.3 miles a day. Well, you go, sir. I'm not running 9 miles a day. It's very possible. Uh, I'm the best I've felt for a year, or for yonks, which is a long time, I guess, in Australian. He told the BBC, "It certainly doesn't mean that my brain cancer is cured, but it's just nice to know that it hasn't come back yet, so I've still got more time to enjoy my life with my wife, Katie, and my 3 wonderful kids." He has been documenting his medical journey and sharing each and every one of the MRI results, including photos, to his social media. So this is absolutely groundbreaking. If we can get genetic markers that find tumors, especially that cross the blood-brain barrier, a lot of times tumors are your own cells just gone crazy. So the body doesn't attack your own body. So if they can find things that help get this and give more quality of life and people more time with their families, that would be wonderful. In more surgical news, although I didn't realize this was actually a story, but Gypsy Rose says that her boogers are insane since her nose surgery. Ma'am, don't put anything online anymore, and welcome, Shizzy Raiders. But apparently, boogers are a story now. My kids would be so excited. Gypsy Rose Blanchard puts nose job on display in new photos and says, quote, "The boogers are insane," end quote, post-surgery. Okay, ma'am. All righty. I have nothing to say after that. Gypsy Rose Blanchard showed off her nose job while sharing her recovery journey. The convicted felon discussed her plastic surgery transformation while filming a Get Ready With Me video posted on TikTok Wednesday. While sitting in her bathroom, she started to apply foundation to her face using a pink blending sponge. This cannot be real news. I mostly clicked on this because I'm like, this can't be real news, but it is. Someone actually did an entire article on this. Quote, "I've got to be careful around my nose because, as everyone knows, I had a nose job," the 32-year-old explained. "I have to be careful because my nose is still healing." Instead of going under the knife in or ahead of going under the knife in April, Blanchard explained she had researched on social media to learn what she could expect. Okay. I mean, Dr. Google will work in a pinch. I was surprised to learn that it takes a full year to finally see the final results, she continued. Your nose will swell up and go back down and look great for 1 month. Then the next month, it can look like you've been in a fight. I mean, if it makes her feel better to get her nose done, fine. This seems like the start of idiocracy, and I won't stand for it. Good morning, Welsh Lady Reads and Debbie Moran. The criminal turned influencer claims she's still experiencing slight swelling at the tip of her nose, but is enjoying the results. She took a moment to share a before snap of her nose, explaining she used to have a predominant bump on it and a tilt on the slant. I always felt very secure about it. I didn't feel like it was a feminine nose, and God knows I got teased about it. Ma'am, you were in your house, I thought, being homeschooled by your mom. Was your mom a total dingus to you? And get it. Look, I want to get liposuction in my arms. I get it. We all have that weird thing that no one else notices about ourselves, but we definitely feel needs to be taken care of. So I get it, but this is news how? Blanchard then showed an after photo revealing her nose sans a bump. I mean, it, I, it looks fine. The one of the things I'm dealing with is like the internal stitches that still kind of itch. And let me just tell you, this is gross. This is TMI, but the boogers are insane. She said, these are huge. I can't even blow my nose. I have to use a Q-tip to go in there. Yes, sure, ma'am. It's already been over a month since Blanchard's surgery, and she still finds herself reaching for Tylenol to ease the pain. I mean, again, we all have that thing about us that makes us really self-conscious, whether we admit it or not. Excuse me. But however, the prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard star has no plans to switch up her look even more. So I've been asked this before if I wanted to get more plastic surgery done, and I honestly don't, she said in a follow-up video. I'm very happy with everything else on my body. I have a very womanly figure. I have curves and I have boobs, and I'm proud of those. I mean, she looks very attractive in this picture, but I don't know how many Instagram filters are on. So there you go. Gypsy Rose has a new nose. In more important news, and in a ruling that I think will bring either peace or start some ish. Are burritos and tacos considered sandwiches? A judge has ruled in. Fear no more. We will figure out what he says about the things because I don't know, but these are burritos and tacos considered a sandwich? I don't know. Let's see what this guy thinks. Obviously not sunblock. I'm a terrible person. I'm going straight to Hades, but I will bring a boom box. And it would be from Indiana because of course it would be. It's a wrap. An Indiana judge has seemingly settled the highly disputed sandwich definition debate after ruling that both tacos and burritos fit the bill during a recent legal case. Quote, tacos and burritos are Mexican-style sandwiches, end quote. Heroic Allen Superior. This is what Allen County is doing. Allen County, the same place that Judge Gull and Richard Allen, the Delphi. Y'all, Indiana, do better. Allen Superior Judge Craig J. Bombay declared in a ruling per a court document blowing up online. The rap battle was sparked in 2022 after a restaurateur, Martin Quintana, unveiled plans to open his restaurant, the famous Taco Mexican Grill, in an 1,100 square foot strip mall in Fort Wayne. Allen County Planning Commission rejected his bid based on a prior quote unquote written agreement, which Quintia had accepted with the Neighborhood Housing Association. Per the agreement, the only restaurants allowed at this facility were ones that did not serve alcohol, prohibited outdoor seating, and sold only made to order or Subway style sandwiches. This measure was designed to keep national fast food chains such as McDonald's out of the center. However, the court ruled in Quintana's favor on Monday on the grounds that the proposed famous taco restaurant fits the definition outlined in the original written commitment. Judge Bombay ruled that tacos and burritos are Mexican style sandwiches, adding that, quote, the originally written commitment does not restrict potential restaurants to only be American style cuisine. He also added that it allowed the establishment that, quote, serves made to order Greek gyros, Indian non wraps, Vietnamese banh mi if the restaurants complied with the other enumerated conditions. It is yet unclear when the famous taco will open its doors to the public. Whether or not tacos and burritos constitute a sandwich has been a contentious debate online. Many armchair epicures on Quora claim that a taco can't by definition be considered a sandwich because it has a flour wrapper and not the requisite two slices of bread. Quote, the sandwich was born in Europe, declared one internet food aficionado, apparently wasting time to argue this. Referring to the ubiquitous nosh's alleged invention in the 18th century by the Earl of Sandwich in the UK. Quote, the very essence of sandwich is two slices of bread with something in the middle, usually a meat filling. Meanwhile, the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines the eat as two or more slices of bread or a split roll having a filling between. Therefore, a tortilla-based treat would seemingly not fill the bill. Interestingly, New York sparked major controversy in culinary circles after listing burritos alongside hoagies, hot dogs, and gyros as sandwiches that were subject to sales tax. No word on whether they'll include a sushi roll, a similar carbohydrate treat with a meat filling under this umbrella as well. I mean, Indiana, bringing you the law decisions that matter. For the love of all that is holy and unholy, why? Just why? And, you know, it is never too late for justice. We have a stolen antique weather vane was recovered 40 years later and returned back to Vermont. So there you go. We've stumbled upon a crime and we're making it right. An antique copper weather vane that was swiped from a Vermont railway station 40 years ago has been found and returned to the state last week, the Vermont Agency of Transportation has announced. Quote, we are delighted to see this valuable historic artifact and beautiful piece of art return to its home here in Vermont. Judith Ehrlich, the agency's historic preservation officer, said on Monday, the 1910 weather vane is of a steam locomotive and a coal tender that was made by W.A. Snow Iron Works, Inc. It sat atop the White River Junction station in Hartford before it was stolen on November 3rd, 1983. The transportation agency said Tuesday. Nearly 40 years later, it was consigned to a New York auction house, Sotheby's, the officials said. The organization Art Loss Register, which has a database of lost, stolen, or looted art, antiques, and collectibles, confirmed that the piece was a stolen weather vane. So the auction pulled it from the sale and the transportation agency got it back. I want to know who stole the damn weather vane. Are we going to find that out? The state currently owns the White River Junction station. Art Loss Register worked with the state to return the weather vane last week. The transportation agency said Sotheby's paid $2,300 to ship it to Vermont. Was someone holding the daggone thing? I just can't. $2,000 to ship something from New York to Vermont. those hikes at the Postal Service are really gonna get to you. Ulrich said the transportation agency is working with a state curator to pick a great location for the weather vane so it can be enjoyed once more. Yes, all the youth of Vermont are like, "We get to watch a weather vane, yay!" In sadder news, and I hope that she can sue them for all the monies because we are a pro doggo channel here. Angie Harmon opens up about the quote unquote unfathomable pain of losing her dog after he was shot by an Instacart driver. Now, sir, first of all, the ATF does not like it when you take over their jurisdiction. And if this old dog, if that is he is an old squishy dog. No, no. Harmon exclusively talked to people about her dog Oliver's tragic death on March 30th and how she's taking legal action. We just can't sit back and do nothing. We better have more doggo pictures. I scroll right past actress to doggo. Over a month ago, Angie Harmon heard a single gunshot from outside her home in Charlotte, North Carolina, while she was feeding her two squirrels upstairs. Wait, you have two squirrels? Alrighty then. She immediately opened the window to hear a commotion, what the commotion was about, and she heard her daughter screaming, oh my God, did you just shoot our dog?" from the front lawn. Her daughter Avery is 18. When the Risolis and Isles alum 51 glanced down from the second floor, she could see her German Shepherd Beagle mix lying helpless on the front porch step. "He was just looking up at me," Harmon remembers, sharing her heartbreak exclusively with people. Oliver, whom Harmon and her daughters rescued from an SPCA center in Dallas, Texas, when he was 4 years old, has been their best friend and constant companion ever since. He gave them love and kept them safe, but a day before Easter, on Sunday, March 30th, everything changed. Harmon ran out the front door barefoot, dressed in a nightgown and jeans, and she remembers yelling, "What is going on?" A few feet away, Christopher Anthony Reed, a grocery delivery service driver, stood silent after he allegedly shot their dog. Quote, "We're running, screaming, crying. I remember thinking how weird, like, why isn't he helping? Why is he just watching us like entertainment?" says Harmon. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department learned in their investigation that after Reed delivered the food to the Harmon residence, he claimed, quote, "the dog attacked him and he defended himself by firing at the dog, striking and wounding him mortally," per the police statement. Afterward, according to Harmon, the driver allegedly placed the firearm in the front of his pants. Now, this is Snake Island worthy, but I need this woman has Ring doorbell. So we need to blast this man and, show that this doggo was just probably not doing anything. I'm on the doggo side. We are on what was his name? Because I'm terrible with name. We are on Oliver's Justice for Oliver. Uh Because, no, sir. Quote, "Yeah, I shot your dog. I shot him," Harmon claims Reed allegedly said to her at the time. She further claimed, quote, "He just kept saying that over and over and over again. He wasn't agitated. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't mad. He wasn't sorry. And he wasn't helping us. He wasn't anything. I was like, what are you talking about?" End quote. Moments later, she saw Oliver bleeding on the concrete, and look, they had to take him to the hospital and, put him down. But justice for Oliver and for that sweet 19-year-old who had to see all of this going down, and then the 15-year-old. I mean, you don't mess with doggos and you don't mess with kids. And if you make my kids cry because you hurt my doggo, we are going to have issues. You are going to Snake Island naked and afraid style. While Avery called 911, Harmon said she and her daughter lifted the dog, but they were both traumatized by his appearance. Immediately, Harmon rushed Oliver to the emergency vet, but he just couldn't save him. Court documents obtained by People Harmon is now suing Instacart and Reed, claiming she believed she was interacting with the delivery driver named Merle on the app, whose profile picture depicted an older woman, while answering questions about her order prior to the incident. However, her attorney claims that Reed, whose father's name is Merle per the records reviewed by People, was the one who arrived on Harmon's property to deliver groceries. The suit alleges that Reed was impersonating Merle on the Instacart app, and consequently, Harmon had no idea she'd been communicating with Reed, who is described in the documents as a tall and intimidating younger man. The suit further alleges that Reed was, quote, not injured or seriously threatened by Harmon's dog and had ample opportunity to leave the property unharmed without pulling out a force multiplier. Harmon is suing for alleged trespass, conversion, negligence, negligent supervision and hiring, invasion of privacy, and negligent representation. She is seeking over $25,000 in damages, although the exact amount would be determined at trial. In a statement about the incident to People in April, Instacart noted that they had suspended the shopper from the platform and were working with local law enforcement in their investigation. On May 14th, the company provided a further statement. Quote, our hearts continue to be with Miss Hammond and her family following this disturbing incident, it read. While we cannot comment on pending litigation, we have no tolerance for violence of any kind, and the shopper account has been permanently deactivated from our profile and our platform. Per their user agreement, Instacart prohibits any violence or aggression on their platform, including carrying a force multiplier. They also prohibit fraud, including sharing account information and delegating shopping and delivering responsibilities to someone who does not have an active and valid shopper account. Only individuals with a valid and active shopper account may shop on their platform and must be the ones who accept and deliver to the customers. There are several security measures to prevent fraud and ensure that only active and properly background checked shoppers have access to the platform and use it in the proper manner. When Harmon returned home, the police questioned Reed for about 45 minutes, while she says they, quote, talked to us for about 10 minutes, and then they let him go, she continues. But he didn't have a mark on him. He didn't have a scratch. He didn't have torn jeans. He didn't have puncture marks. Most importantly, he didn't ask for help. He said he was attacked multiple times by Ollie and that he had to kick him off, but he didn't even ask for a Band-Aid or an ambulance. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and state he did not look like John O'Keefe's arm. 4 hours later, Harmon claims Reed allegedly delivered food to one of her neighbors, even though she said Instacart suspended him. It's just so unnecessary. If the man was afraid of dogs, why is he a delivery person hiding under a false identity and carrying a force multiplier? Harmon questioned. If he's so scared of dogs, why wouldn't he have pepper spray, an air horn, or a stick? There's no way that this man was in such bodily danger that he needed to do this to Ollie. Good morning, Flash fan. I am doing okay. Yeah, if I ever, I need to start my own, like, I am at Walmart every day because someone's always telling me we're out of something that they put away, an empty box in the refrigerator. So I need to start my own thing. I'll just do everyone's grocery shopping. I actually don't mind grocery stores. Unfortunately, her daughters are having a really hard time with this, and I can totally get it. Um, After Oliver passed away, Emery felt so guilty because the last thing he saw was her running away from him instead of coming to help. I had the girls leave the rooms, then I cried to him. I felt like I was going to throw up, and I did. We were silent on the ride home. All of it was just so unnecessary. On Mother's Day, May 12th, Harmon's oldest daughter, Finley, 20, returned from college to grieve with the family. We're all in therapy for PTSD. Okay, guys, this is going to be controversial, and this is just my opinion, but can we keep like PTSD to veterans? You are dealing with trauma, but I think Or can we at least outlaw people saying they have PTSD over mundane things? I mean, this is a terrible thing. I can give you PTSD, but Starbucks not having your, favorite frappuccino or whatever the hell you buy at Starbucks is not something you have PTSD about. Having to work a 9 to 5 is not traumatic. There is no reason for anyone to go through this. Her other rescued animals, 2 dogs, Daisy and Benji, 2 cats, Hazel and Moose, and 3 squirrels, Oscar and Emmy, and Thomas, a girl who is now living out in the wild. Uh, you know, Unfortunately, she says that Benny, her Great Dane Mastiff uh, Cahula mix, uh, is looking for his best friend. He keeps, looking around and trying to sit where he used to sit. So, it was a terrible thing, but I think PTSD is something that's thrown around a lot, and we need to kind of be maybe better arbiters of our words so that people with real, shell shock, battle fatigue, things like that can get real help too. So it's just like the same chick saying, "I'm an empath," and I'm like, "Well, we're a social, species, so everyone at some point is an empath. Stop saying this. I'm going to outlaw it when I become president because I can't with people." And so this is I hope she wins her suit. I think that it is scary, considering, he put up kind of a fraudulent profile picture. And most likely, I would do the same thing that Angie did. I would want to pick an older woman to come to my property instead of maybe a younger man. And absolutely, absolutely, it's definitely real. But I think context, I wish we could go back to calling what happened to, and this is an old George Carlin thing, but I think we should go back to shell shock because it so imperfectly encapsulates, kind of just overwhelming issues that returning veterans have. But that's just my 2 cents, and I'm not in charge of anything. In other news, another day, another barge hitting a bridge. For the love of all that is holy, I can't, people. I don't know what's going on. A barge hits the bridge connecting Galveston to and Pelican Island, causing partial collapse and a oil spill. I'm beginning to think that we are not sending our best to captain piloting school. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Of course, it's one of the trail supply, things. It's one of the railroads. Just absolute insanity. I do not get it. I don't know what's going on, but if I were tinfoily on it, I'd say it's a plot, but never attribute to conspiracy what can just be stupidity. It's Moe's law. A barge slammed into a bridge pillar in Galveston, Texas on Wednesday, spilling oil into the waters near busy shipping channels and closing not only the road to a small neighboring island, and closing the only road to a small neighboring island. No injuries were reported. The impact set pieces of the bridge, which connects Galveston to Pelican Island, tumbling on the top of the barge and shut down a stretch of waterway so crews could clean up the spill. The accident knocked one man off the vessel and into the water, but he was quickly recovered and not injured, said the Galveston County Sheriff's Office Major Ray Nolan. Ports along Texas coast are hubs of international trade, but the expert said that the collision was unlikely to result in serious economic disruptions since it occurred in a lesser used waterway. The island is on the opposite side of Galveston's Island's beaches that draw millions of tourists each year. The accident happened shortly before 10 a.m. after a tugboat operator pushing two barges lost control of them, said David Flores, a bridge superintendent with Galveston County Navigation District. The current was very bad and the tide was high, Flores said. He lost it. Pelican Island is only a few miles wide and is home to Texas AM University at Galveston, a large shipyard and industrial facilities. Fewer than 200 people were on campus when the collision happened, and all were eventually allowed to drive on the bridge to leave. The Marine and Maritime Research Institute says it plans to remain closed until at least Friday. Students who live on campus were allowed to remain there, but university officials warned those who live on campus and leave should be prepared to remain off campus for an unknown period of time. The accident came weeks after a cargo ship crashed into a support column of the Francis Key Bridge in Baltimore on March 26th, killing six construction workers. The tugboat in Texas was pushing bunker barges, which are fuel barges for ships. Flores said the barge, which is owned by Martin Petroleum, had a 30,000-gallon capacity, and it's not clear how much leaked into the bay, said Galveston County spokesperson Spencer Lewis. He did say that about 6.5 miles or 10.5 kilometers of the waterway was shut down because of the spill. The affected area is miles away from the Gulf Intercoastal Waterway, which sees frequent barge traffic. The Houston Ship Channel, a large shipping channel for ocean-going vessels. Aside from the economic impact of the spill, the region is unlikely to see large economic disruption as a result of the accident, said Marcia Burns, a maritime transportation expert at the University of Houston. Quote, because Pelican Island is a smaller location, which is not in the heart of commercial events, the impact is not as devastating, Burns said. It's a relatively small impact. No, that is totally fine. I completely understand. Have a good rest, and hopefully those help just a little bit. So there you go. Another day, another bridge. What are you gonna do? And no one knows who did it, and I'm sure we'll never know who did it. It will be like if aliens were among us. The Capitol Police found another bag of nose candy somewhere in Washington, D.C. headquarters. I can't imagine whose nose candy is that. Will we ever find out? U.S. police find a bag of, nose clams in a heavily trafficked area of Washington, D.C. headquarters. I mean, who among us hasn't found evidence and just thrown it somewhere else? The U.S. Capitol Police announced that a small bag of powdered nonsense was found in a heavily trafficked hallway of its headquarters. In a press release Wednesday, the agency announced that around 1 p.m., a roughly 1 by 1 inch bag filled with a white powdery substance was found in the middle of the floor at U.S. Capitol Police headquarters. I mean, what are you going to do at 1 p.m. when you still have to work the rest of that? I can't, y'all. This is becoming farce, and you just have to look at it and laugh at the absurdity. Apparently, they tested the substance and it was positive for the big old C word and not cancer. For the love of all that is holy, people. It was found on the second floor of the, U.S. Capitol Police headquarters in an area that's known for storing office furniture and other supplies. Well, there you go. It happened to be an office supply. You have your dictaphone, your computer, your bag of nose candy, your highlighters. I mean, it's a simple mistake. The U.S. Capitol Police say that the hallway is frequented by various contractors and employees, and it's also near prisoner processing, crime scene, intel, and the report's processing offices. An officer found the bag in the middle of the floor and immediately reported it to a supervisor. They announced that it had been opened an investigation and will continue to test the residue further and conduct a DNA testing on the bag. It did not immediately respond to Fox News Digital requests for a comment. The finding of a white powdery substance came just 10 months after a white powdery substance was also found in the White House. I know, shocked, shocked. Are we wait a minute, wait a minute. If we are following the Carter years, then in this loop, we are coming right towards the 80s and nose clams out the yin yang. You know, if someone creates really scary kids movies, we are in the second return of the yuppies, and I'm kind of here for it. On July 2nd, 2023, white powdery substance was found in the West Wing, and it sparked an evacuation and emergency response. The White House complex went into precautionary closure as officers from the Secret Service Uniform Division investigated the unknown, powdery substance found inside a work area. The DC Fire Department was called to evaluate and quickly determined that it was not, anything terrible. It was just nose clams. And the investigation into the cause and manner of how it entered the White House is pending for the rest of our lives. It's going to be like some of the things like, okay, well, when in 70 years we'll release like 5 pages of this and call it done. In our final story, and something that will, at least make us a bit happier, a mama duck and her 11 babies were rescued from a Connecticut plaza. I love little ducklings. Authorities in Connecticut came to the rescue of a mother duck and 11 ducklings found stranded in an isolated downtown plaza. The Stamford Police Department said Lene Contrella of Stamford Downtown Special Services District teamed up with Animal Control Officer John Frasenti and security guard Omar Reforio. All of these names, you're all John Smith now. And a crew of gardeners when the mother duck and her 11 freshly hatched babies were spotted on Landmark Plaza. Officer John returned to the scene 3 times to make sure they had safely captured all 11 babies, the department said in a Facebook post. The 11 babies and their mother were released into the Mill River. Quote, legend has it that the same mother duck has laid her eggs in there in that safe courtyard for the last 4 years, police wrote. So good on Mama Duck. They all got to safety, all 11 kids, and, a family that has more kids than me. I had to pick this story. And let's see, I think that's all good. A couple housekeeping things. There will be no Legal Shenanigans Theater on Saturday because I am going to pick up Wilfred. Wilfred Catley will be returning with me on Saturday. And not to Mr. Moe's knowledge, but I am not going overboard. I think, getting him a bunch of bow tie collars is just fine. And the little kitten that has a heartbeat in it so he doesn't feel alone. Mr. Moe was like, what is this on Amazon? Did you get this cat, a heartbeat cat? I was like, he might feel lonely. He's like, there's 5 other cats in our house. It could happen. Mr. Moe he's like, okay, so you're not going insane with this. And I'm like, not to your knowledge. So I will be, I'll probably have a Sunday shenanigans stream where you can meet Wilfred, where I will attempt to put together a cat tree because I have negative intuition when it comes to instructions, or I make Mr. Moe do it. So That is all for housekeeping. I will send you guys over to Baker, and I will probably head there after I do a check of who left all the lights on, and do you wanna pay that electricity bill. I've become my father. I really have. So have a wonderful day, and I will see you over there in just a couple minutes. Bye, you guys.